everyone, welcome to Make Moments Matter, a music education podcast, where I share lesson ideas, songs, games, and inspiring things for your elementary music classroom. My name is David Rao, and I am the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. This episode of the podcast is a replay containing the audio version of a Musical Mondays live video. If you're not familiar with Musical Mondays, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I go live on Facebook and Instagram to share about the lessons that I'm using in class with my students. I give a recap of my kindergarten through 5th grade lessons, and then do a deep dive about one grade level and share the books, instruments, songs, and process that I use to teach the lesson to kids. This podcast episode contains all the audio from the Musical Mondays video, but if you'd like to see a replay of the video itself, you can find a link to the archived video on YouTube when you click the link in the notes for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's the show. Hey everyone, my name is David Rao, and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, a variety of places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. Tonight I'm going to be talking about how I do improvisation with some of my older grades, specifically how we are improvising in the pentatonic modes this week. If you are like, what even is that? That's a great question, and it's something that we're playing around with my kids. It's especially interesting if you are thinking about taking level 2 or Schulwerk this summer. And so if you are, guess what? I'm teaching Orff level 2 this summer. You should come and join us at the University of Missouri in St. Louis. There's still spots available, and we have housing, and you can get grad credit. Anyway, there's a whole spot on my blog where you can learn about upcoming stuff, including University of Missouri St. Louis, or UMSL, people call it. So anyway, that's coming up this summer. If you're interested, come and join us. But if you want to hear about any of like the resources, things I talk about, ideas, whatever, if you're like, oh, that was cool, where can I learn more? I have a whole page on my blog dedicated to like the links I talk about in these videos. You can go to my blog, makemomentsmatter.org, and click the video tab, or just follow the link at wherever the bottom of the caption for wherever you're watching or listening to this. And that'll give you some extra stuff. Okay. Also, while I'm talking about some of those details, there are a couple of workshops that are coming up. The last week and a half has been very busy because I spent a few days at the Colorado Music Educators Association workshop conference. That was super fun to be there in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor with so many great folks. And last week I was in Kentucky at the Galt House, the Kentucky International Conference Center. I don't know what the official name is, but in Louisville, it was so much fun to be with so many people there. If you want to come and do a workshop in person and see me in person, I'm going to be at the Central Ohio Orff chapter on March 1st. And then I'm spending a day with the Utah Orff chapter on March 8th. If you're around and you want to come join us at either of those places, or come to both. I'm actually doing 2 different workshops. So come join us in Central Ohio and then fly out with me to Utah the next week. And it's going to be a great time. 2 totally different workshops. So hope to see you at both. Anyway, but like I said, if you're interested in in-person stuff, there are other workshops and things coming up. So you can check out my blog or just follow me on social media. I post a lot on there about what's coming up. Okay, so my 5th graders, we're improvising. We recently were doing things on pitch percussion instruments like xylophones, glockenspiels, and metallophones. We're starting in on doing some more recorder, and so we're doing a little bit of improvising in all places, and I wanted to talk you through a couple of the processes and things that I'm doing with kids. It sounds way trickier than it actually is, and it's just sort of fun for kids to explore. So I hope that through this, you stick with me and don't run away and don't like, this is too much. It's really not. It's really something that my 5th graders can handle. I promise it's fun and exciting to do. So we're improvising the pentatonic modes. I don't necessarily say that with my students, but I'll say it for you. What exactly does that mean? So let's talk about it. So if you're talking about scales, right? Like you're going to be playing with students and you're going to be playing just a normal everyday piece. Usually it's probably going to be you would maybe say like major or minor, something like that, right? Like maybe you get into modal things, maybe not. But with students, a lot of the times we're playing in a major scale or a minor scale or something like that. Modes are really not that scary. I know that a lot of people are like, oh my God, modes, music theory 101. This is stressing me out. It doesn't have to be. Really, if you're thinking like a scale, if you're playing, I would grab my xylophone, but I already took some bars off. If you're playing a scale and you're playing like from C to C, and you're thinking like C major, right? Like you're thinking just like all the white keys on a piano, C to C, we would call that Ionian, right? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C to C is like an Ionian scale if you're thinking of the modes, right? Now, if you're going to be playing, if you move up to D, where D is like your home tone, like where you leave and come back to, you start and end the melody there, you're creating your melody all based around D. If you're thinking D major and you play on a piano, you have to think about your accidentals, right? So like in D major, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. That's a D major scale, right? But if you're playing on a piano and you only play the white keys and you play from D to D, you'd get D, E, F natural, G, A, B, C natural, D, right? So if you're thinking D to D there, but you're not playing the accidentals, that's a Dorian scale. That's a Dorian mode, right? And you can keep doing that if you go up, right? You go up to E. E with accidentals is E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, right? You got to think about all those accidentals that you need to play. If you play just the white keys, right, it'd be E, F natural, G natural, A, B, C natural, D natural, E. That is a Phrygian scale. So as you're going up, it's like basically if you're like playing C to C, D to D, E to E, F to F, G to G, A to A, B to B, C to C. You're just playing those scales, but without those accidentals. Like on a piano, I like to use that example because I play piano, but also like it makes a lot of sense to people if you're like, I took group piano, I didn't remember accidentals. Well, you're playing in modes, hooray! But if you're going up the scale, right, like if you're going up by scale degrees without using those accidentals, you're playing in the modes, right? You're messing around with the modes, and it sounds different. You're like, why doesn't this scale sound right? And your piano teacher is like, yeah, you're not playing the accidentals. And so it sounds a little bit different, but those sounds can be so much fun and so beneficial and so exciting. For kids, this is really easy to do because your xylophones, your metallophones, glockenspiels do not have the accidentals on the instrument unless you have one of those weird chromatic instruments, or you're playing a marimba where there's like the main board of bars and then the accidentals up above, like the D sharp and C sharp, D sharp, whatever, like it's a piano, but you have like the two sets of bars, like a marimba or a vibraphone, like a large band instrument. But most of the instruments that we have in our classroom don't have those. You might have accidental bars that you can pull out as needed. You might have an F sharp, you might have a B flat that you can put in, or maybe you lost those bars, I don't know. But those are for when we want to play and we want to center things and you want to have those accidentals in there. But if you want to play in the modes, you just play from D to D, or sorry, C to C, that's Ionian scale. If you go up D to D, but you don't put in that F sharp accidental, then you're playing in Dorian mode. If you're playing E to E and you don't put in any accent, well, you don't have, those instruments aren't made with anything other than an F sharp or a B flat. So you're not putting in like G sharp, C sharp, D sharp. You're not putting those in. You're playing in the modes, right? Like it's really not that scary. And kids can do that very easily. So a lot of times when we have kids improvise, we have them take off bars. And here's an example of a xylophone with bars taken off, right? So I have C, D, E, I took off F, G, A, I took off B, and then C, and it continues on, right? So 3, 2, 3, 2. And a lot of times when we're playing with kids, we improvise in this way. We take off bars because then it takes off the 4th and the 7th scale degree. A pentatonic scale, we sometimes call it an anhemitonic scale, which means it doesn't have a half step in it. So it sounds like this. Right, so that's just C pentatonic. It's a pentatonic scale where C is do. Well, I'm making C do right now. Do, re, mi, so, la, do, so, mi, re, do, right? And so we're playing in this scale, this pentatonic scale, and I'm starting on C and I'm ending on C. Now with kids, when I start having them improvise in pentatonic modes, I just start talking about having them improvise, but just I start where C is home. I always say like C is home, and here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you 4 beats, and you're going to walk away from home. You're just going to leave, and you're going to go somewhere else. So like 4 beats, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one way you could do it. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Or walking away from home. Let's try another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then with kids, this is where I start to say like, okay, we're walking, we're not jumping, we're not leaping, we're not doing pinball. Right, like that's like kindergarten, preschool, first week when they play. That's like, I call that pinball, where they're going all around, bing, 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 all over. So we're pretending like C is home, and we're starting at home, and we're walking away, and we're gonna be coming back. Let me see if I can move my camera down Facebook so you can see a little better. Okay, cool. Maybe you can see a little bit better like that. Let me see if I can move Instagram over a little bit. Okay, so I just start where I like have them start on C and they move away from home. And then usually I'll say like, instead of just 4 beats, can I give you 8 beats? Because usually do things in groups of 8. So let me do 8. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we want to start at home, but we don't want to end at home, because we're going to make a longer piece. And if you go back home, then it feels like the thing is over. Here's an example of that. Where you start and end on C, it feels like we've come back home, like the song's over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sounds like I'm done, because I came back home. I'm done. I'm home. I'm home for the night. When I get home at night, I don't go back out. I put on my jammies. I'm done. I go to bed. Or I watch TV, or I do my puzzle, or whatever, but I don't go back out. Who goes back out? Anyway, okay, so we start at home, and you got to go away. That's the first part. For 8 beats, you can do whatever. I don't care where you go. Just go away from home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the first couple times I just say like, you do whatever. You start, you go away, you start, you go away. Okay. So, but then usually I say, you know what? Actually, we're going to go to the movies. So can you end? You started on do. And this is another thing I do with kids. I say like, we use a lot of different things to explain stuff. Can we like do a little translation? How about I give you the solfege and you give me the letter name? So if I say do, they say C. If I say me, they say E. So, G. Okay, let's flip it. I'll give you the letter name. You give me the solfege. F, fa, B, T, A, la. Okay, so we play around with that. Okay, so we're starting at home. Do is home. Do is home. So you're going to start at home, but you're going to wander away. By the end of those 8 beats, I need you to go to the movies. And the movie theater right now, we're going to say is so. So we're starting at do, and we're going to end on so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's so. Okay, let me try another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, so you start on do, you come back home. I'm sorry, let me stop. Facebook questions. Can't myself. I love your sweater. Okay, this I love wearing the sweater because David from Schitt's Creek, but also like I'm David, so it makes it even more fun. It was one of my coworkers' 50th birthday today, so we all had to wear black, but I was like, this is black but fun. And then Bonnie said, what brand of xylophone is that? It's a Sonar brand xylophone, and it's from their Smart series, so it's like the compact version. They stack really well. You can actually stack them on top of each other. You can put them on like their carts and stuff, but makes it easy. It's nice having like have at home in my home studio because like it's very compact. Anyway, it's Sonar, but it's the Smart series, and this is the soprano. And they also have an alto, a Smart alto. They do not have a Smart bass because those are you can't do that. But the Smart series is really great to have. Okay, so you start at do, you go to so, you start at home, you end at home. Now I usually do like 8 beats, and then I build it out to like maybe like 2 sets of 8, so that kids are getting used to. By the time we're done, they'll have 16 beats for the first half and 16 beats for the second half. So 32 beats total. So they're getting used to improvising. So I start with just 4 beats. You start on do, you go away. 4 beats. And then, let's do 8 beats. Okay. And then I say, you know what? I'm actually going to give you 2 sets of 8 to get to the movie theater. So you might go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can actually, you know what, if you want those two things, they can be identical if you want, as long as the end of the second one ends on so. So you can do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It could be like an A pattern if you want. That's fine. But like I'm getting kids to like feel like one set of 8, another set of 8, a third set of 8, a fourth set of 8. And so that by the time we keep going, we do lots and lots of examples. By the end of the first half, you're going to end on so. By the end of the second half, you're going to come back home. So they're just kind of sort of randomly freely going. And they do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's halfway through. And then I say, for the second half, can you start at the movies and end at home by the end of the piece? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just like building, like we do a bunch of like a bunch of versions of this where they know they start at do, they go away, and then by the time they're done, they end at home. We do it over and over. And then I'll have them switch instruments. You know, they switch with someone else, they try it again. Maybe you come up with a pattern you like using over and over. Maybe you use that pattern for the opening. Great. Maybe you have a pattern you like for the ending. But I always say, like, don't go back home until the very end, because if you go back home and you end on the strong beat, if you're at the end of the third phrase or the second phrase, it feels like we're done. It feels like we're home. So I'm building in hopefully with this repetition, the idea that it's 16 beats for the first half, 16 beats for the second half, or 2 sets of 8. It's easier for me to think in like groups of 8. And so I know for a lot of kids it is too. Like you're doing something for 8, you're doing another something for another 8, you're doing something, another something. So it's like 4 groups of 8. To make 32 beats total in this little mini composition we're doing. You start on do, you end the first half on so, you start the second half on so, you come back and you end on do. You just come home at the end, right? And we do this over and over a bunch of times, switch instruments, do things. I'll maybe give them other instructions like make sure you're not doing too many jumps or leaps, you're just doing mostly steps and little hops, right? So they're not going right? And a lot of times I'll limit them to the bottom octave too. I'll say only, the bottom notes. Or maybe I'll give them the ending of the first phrase or whatever. I don't know. It's like depends on the class and how much structure they need or how much freedom they can handle. But we start on do, we end on so, we start on so, we end on do, right? So like the first half of the song, the second half, right, in those phrases. But what if do wasn't home? What if Ray was home? If Ray was home, then you'd start on Ray, you'd wander off. At the end of the first half, you're not going to go to so. We moved up 1 bar to get to Ray, so let's move up 1 bar to see where our movie theater is now. If home is Ray, then the movie theater is la. What would that sound like? Let's try. You start on Ray, you go away, and halfway through you get to La. You start that second half on La, and then when you're done, you come back to Ray. How fun is that? Let's try another version of it. So. Ooh, you can even dip below Ray because that do is still there. You just can't end on do. So, because if you're like bum 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 ba that feels weird. That's not home anymore. Home is Ray, and we play around with this like Ray to La, Ray to La, Ray to La. We go back and forth and play around with it. This does require that kids are able to like, you know, use building bricks or use familiar patterns to come back and forth and to like build these structures. But like my kids have been doing this so often and so long, and like improvising these small forms, like they can kind of handle it. So we do do to so, whole bunch of examples of that. Then we do re to la, bunch of examples of that. Say, Hong Kong movie truck is coming. What if we move up to me? Me is home. Me is home. And this is weird because, well, like with kids, sometimes also have the basses do like a drone, right? So they'll do a drone like a bordune for like if you're doing do to so, they'll drone on do and so. When you move up to re and la, well, they'll drone on re and la, like the basses will, to give you that harmonic foundation, to give you that bordune feeling. When you go up to me, there is no fifth. The B, we took the B off. I'm not going to put the B back on because that would be weird. And so with this, if they're going to give a drone, I have them do it on an octave E. And now when they wander away to wherever, just so long as you don't end on E as on me. And so then they wander away, and then they just, by the end of the piece, they have to be back to E. It might sound like this. It feels weird to go there and for me to be home, but guess what? Me's home. Sorry, kiddos, you got to try it. And then we rotate, we train, we move around, but it's always like me is home. Got to start and end at home. You got to start and end at home. Me is home. Me is home. And we play around with that. And then they don't like that one so much. Then we move up. And we say so is home. If so is home, then the movie theater is a high re. Right? So now you're gonna start on at home, which is so. You're gonna go up, you're gonna play around, you're gonna find, but by the time you're halfway through, you'll end up on re, but up high. I mean, you could go down low, but I'd love for you to go up high. And then you're gonna start up on re, and then you're gonna end on so. It might sound like this. Sorry. I don't know. And I give them lots of examples. I play it, I try it, I, let them try. Say, does anybody want to show us what they did? We come up with different things. And you could also, because there are like 4 different little phrases, right? Like 4 sets of 8. You could have them use like an elemental form like A, B, A, C. Or you could do like A, B, C, something if you wanted. But my stipulation is always like you start and you end your piece at home. And then somewhere through the day, you try and go to the movies. You go somewhere else. You do something else. But by that, you start and you end at home. Even though home is moving right now. Okay. But you're starting and ending at home. Then we move up to another one. They're like, oh my gosh, again, this one actually they're pretty good at because la feels like minor. And we've actually improvised a lot in la pentatonic. They just don't remember it. But we have, because they don't remember because we haven't like moved progressively up the board of the instrument and to get to it this way. Usually it's like we just are in la and they know that, though where la is home. So la pentatonic is very easy. They're really used to that. That's la pentatonic. That's actually pretty easy. And then we go back to, which one is your favorite? And not very many kids say do to so, which is kind of amazing, I think, because they're so used to that do to so, like pentatonic, where it's like Ionian, right? Like their baseline basic pentatonic. A lot of them will choose Dorian, so like Dorian-ish. It's not really Dorian because you're missing scale degrees, but like re pentatonic, a lot of kids will choose that. They really like that one. But it's fun. It's fun to do. And then a lot of kids, hardly anyone chooses mi pentatonic. Some will choose so pentatonic and some will choose la pentatonic. But a lot of them will choose re pentatonic, which I think is fun. It's fun to play around and try. But this is all just in an effort to, first of all, get them to understand this like phrase structure, like 4 phrases, and they're kind of balanced. You want to start and end at home, and you move away, you come back. But really, whatever you play, I've taken off the bad note. I've taken off the notes that makes it seem like you're doing something wrong. So no matter what you do, like, start and end on do, go away and come home, right? Like, But no matter what you do along the way, there's nothing that's going to make it sound weird or wrong or off. And all their peers around them are just playing random whatever. They're playing all sorts of stuff. So they don't feel like they're being watched. They don't feel like they're stressed. They're just like playing what they're playing in the moment, which is very fun. So that continued today when we pulled out recorders, because in that spirit of like, well, like, what else could we do? We were, this is the first time pulling out recorders since 4th grade, since last year, because the concert and the whatever, we're doing lots of stuff. So, we remembered how do we play, and, what are the notes, So my kids, they knew coming in from 4th grade, B, A, G, low E, low D, because that's just the progression. I use B, A, G, and then I use low E, low D. I know a lot of people who use like high C and A as like they're starting, but I've just never done that. And maybe sometime, but not right now. Anyway, so my kids come in from 4th grade knowing B, A, G, E, and D. We play around, we try some patterns, we echo, we see what we remember. And then I say, okay, there's that one song, that good song. You know which one I'm thinking of? And they're like, hot cross buns. I'm like, hot cross buns. And usually up on the board, I'll have like a visual where it's like circles. So like B, below it is an A, below it is a G, below that is an E, below that is a D. So we call it a pitch stack or a pitch ladder, where it's just the pitches that they know in the order, right? I can make a picture of that. Hold on. Just in case you're like, what exactly do you mean by that? Okay. This is the world's fastest visual. Oh wow. Okay, that's the graphic designer in me is like, nope, you can't show them that. Okay. Oh, good Lord. Okay, I should have planned ahead, because these visuals are bad. Okay, hold on just a second. Slightly better. Okay, hold on. So with kids, I'll just show them this. It really is just like a pitch stack, a pitch ladder. It's just showing them the pitches and basically like relatively where they are. It looks kind of like this, right? So on top is B, below it is G, A, and then G, and then below it is E and D. So just like a pitch ladder, like pitches that they can play. And so if we're going to play hot cross buns, we're actually not going to use E or D. We're really going to use B, A, and G. And so to remind them like how does it go, I'll be like B, A, G, B, A, G. I might point along. They mostly remember this, right? It's hot cross buns. G, 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 A, B, A, G. It's like a seminal, perfect, must remember moment from 4th grade. Okay, but we play through and we try it. I'll point and I'll do it, and they'll mostly remember. And it's at first it's like the tone and the sound and how are they doing it, but then you know what? It really is just bum bum bum. You're just starting here and going down, right? Bum bum bum, and then you stay here. Bum 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 bum. But I just like point, and instead of saying letter names, I just point. Bum 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 down. Top, down, down, top, down, down, bump, 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 bump. It's just 3 notes, right? But we know we know E and D. And I would love to use them, but we aren't really using them in here. You know what? Why don't we start the song, but instead of starting on B and going down, why don't we start on A and go down? So it's going to be, instead of bum, 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 it's going to be bum, 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 bum. A, G, E. I don't know if those are the actual pitches. I'm just singing randomly. Sorry. A, G, E, 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 G, 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 A, G, E. Let's try it. Okay, let me see if I can actually, if it was close. Oh my gosh, I was close. So I'm just taking the piece and I'm just moving it down with the only pitches that we really have available. I'm just moving it down. Okay, great. The kids are like, I don't know, that kind of works. What if we move it down even farther? G, E, D. What's that going to sound like? But again, we're just using this visual, the pitch stack, to know like the top note, the next note down, the next note down, the top note, the next. Why am I doing this? Well, a couple things. First, I just want to see, do they remember how to play these notes, right? Also, I kind of like want to mess with their head, but I also want them thinking like, but we're just moving down. It's just note down, down, right? Like, so what would that sound like? What could that be? It's sort of pushing into them like, yeah, we could improvise here. We could play around with it. We're taking this structure we already know. We're just changing it and using a variation. What does it sound like if we start on G? Here's what it sounds like. Oh my gosh, how fun is that? And the kids are like, kind of fun. Okay, so, but we play around with that. We try it a couple times. And then I say, wait, what if we did start on B? But what if for some reason A was not available to us? B, G, and what? What could we use? And they're like, E. Okay, great. Now this actually might be kind of hard because B is thumb and one. And so then this is also now a review of the notes that we know. B is thumb and one. G is you add 2 more fingers. So thumb, 1, 2, 3. And then E is drop 2 more fingers. Again, I leave the visual on the board. I point to it as we go. But then this is now forcing them to remember and to switch between different notes that maybe they wouldn't be used to. But they're just thinking top, down, down for the notes that are available, thinking that structure of hot cross buns. It would sound like this. Then, of course, we do a version where A and E are not available. And then that's hilarious, right? And so then we play around with like, what else could we do? What if instead of going down, B, A, G, we went up? We've inverted the whole thing. So dum, bum, 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 bum. If you did that, what notes could you start with? Does it have to be G? So then we can play around and we can, fill time, explore, try, whatever. But we're basically taking all the notes we know, we're flipping them, trying in a different version. Even today I said, okay, instead of thinking top, down, down, can you just think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, what could your 1 be? Could 1 be A and your 2 be D and your 3 be G? Then it'd be A, D, G, A, D, G, 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 D, 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 A, D, G. Oh my gosh. And so then we're playing and we're taking this idea and we're just playing around with it, trying. This is not necessarily like pentatonic modes like we were before, but because we had just done that, my kids were already set with like, well, yeah, we can move home. Yeah, we can move the tonic. Yeah, we can move whatever. Sure, why not? Let's move it down. What would that sound like? What could we try? And so now my kids are getting ready for improvisation and playing around and trying different stuff, and they're already freely ready to move and do stuff. Because like, it didn't feel like this huge crazy thing to them. They're like, well, yeah, we could shift it. Why not? We did a whole class on it last time. So like, they're more willing to move around and try and explore. And it's like reviewing for recorder, it's reviewing the notes, it's reviewing fluencies and switching. And I can immediately see like this kid doesn't remember anything. This one, they don't know the note names at all. But also it doesn't rely then on reading standard notation on a staff, which for a lot of kids, that is a hindrance for a recorder, is like the reading the written notation and playing along. They are playing and can be successful and are exploring and are not having to worry about reading standard notation on a 5-line staff, which can be really, really tricky. Okay, this was a lot all in one day. If you're like, this was fun, then you know what? You should sign up to take ORF Level 2 this summer. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of exploring. I'm teaching Level 2 this summer at the University of Missouri St. Louis. We have housing available. There's graduate credit if you want it in beautiful St. Louis. Come to St. Louis. We will go to Fitz's Root Beer and have ginormous, crazy root beer floats, and you can have your heart's delight of terrible Midwestern food, like gooey butter cake and toasted ravioli. That's a thing. Both of those are a thing in St. Louis. Homemade ranch. We'll find a place that has it. I don't know. There are all sorts of things you can get into in St. Louis and fun. In the City Museum, and anyway, come join us. Or Level 2 at wherever your local ORF chapter is, your closest ORF thing. But I hope that this was exciting and you sort of like an idea of like, well, yeah, we have possibilities. We can play around, we can try. Because that's what my kids got to explore and they got to see and play with. And it wasn't scary for me or for them. It's just fun. It's fun to explore and see. And so now I feel like we have so much more to play with now when we get ready for more improvisation. We want to add a B section, we want to do whatever. We want to take that concept of, whatever, or we want to play with that note or play with that interval. And now we can do it in so many different ways. So anyway, yeah, I hope this gave you some ideas and some thoughts. And if you're wanting more, plan on taking more for level 2, or if you're not taking more for level 1, plan on taking more for level 1. Or just send me a message or send me a thought. If you try one of these and you're like, hey, this worked great, or if you try it and you're like, this crashed and burned, why? Send me an email, send me a message. I would love to chat and talk more. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm doing 2 workshops coming up. One on March 1st at Central Ohio Orff Chapter. And then also the week later on March 8th at Utah Orff Chapter in Salt Lake City. So if you're in either place or want to come to both, come to both. We're going to have a great time. All right, thanks so much for coming along, everyone. I hope you have a great week, and I won't see you next week for Musical Mondays. I am not here next Monday, but I will be the following week. So go explore, have fun, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, bye, everyone. Have a great night.